So this week, Microsoft shocked us by introducing a brand new Notion-like clone with Loop. In today's video, I'm going to dive into a comparison against Notion, also talk about a comparison against Coda, and dive into why Notion actually stole the idea from Microsoft. You'll find out more about that later in today's video. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Francesco. Feel free to subscribe to keep productive and like this video if you enjoy it throughout. So Microsoft have been talking a lot about hybrid work, and I managed to sit down and watch their Microsoft 365 segment that they did at the most recent Ignite event. Now, Jared Spataro kicked everything off, talking more about the traditional confines of the Office experience and talking about why Loop is the next big breakthrough. Now, this collaborative canvas that they introduced, Loop, is sort of inevitable. Google and Microsoft were really behind in this space when it came to being able to bring all-in-one dashboard workspaces together. And even I'm still shocked at how Google haven't turned their Google Docs into something like this. So let's put it against Notion. And I want to start with the Pages element of Loop. Now, Loop pages can be created much like any document inside of Notion. Once you create a Loop page, you can add files, links, and data, as well as obviously text. And when you start a page, you can naturally add cover photos and emoji, much like you would inside of Notion. Now, inside of these docs or pages, you can actually add comments and collaborate in real time. And you can also embed live components, which they're part of the Loop ecosystem and were called previously Fluid. So essentially, these are the databases allowing you to connect anything from projects to Excel to OneNote and much more, and allow you to collaborate with them in real time. Essentially, Loop is a static place for you to manage this all. Previously, Fluid was across all of these different spaces, and you couldn't really centralize it or manage it in one place. Well, there are some key differences that I sort of zoomed in onto inside of the full feature. The differences include the more live element. Although Notion does allow collaboration in real time, and in the top right hand corner you can see who's working on a document, there's much more of a live element of this, and you can see that in the top right hand corner, as well as highlighting who's working on what. On the left hand side, you can actually see who's working on specific pages, and even when someone mentions or comments on something. I also saw that inside of that left hand panel, you can see an activity log in the bottom left hand corner. I'm assuming this is an activity log just because of the icon, but it does make sense because of the live component element that Microsoft are really pushing here. Now, obviously, another key difference is the fact that embeddable stuff makes it a lot easier to manage stuff in real time. Of course, we have linked databases and also now sync blocks inside of Notion. But when it comes to the comparability, live components go a lot further, being able to share them inside of things like Teams, OneNote, a lot more, and even being able to interact with them in real time with other people. Now, Notion actually released something called Live Embeds, and they can do that from GitHub PRs, Jira issues, Slack messages, Trello cards, and Asana, but it doesn't seem to work quite the same way. This is probably more down to the fact that Notion's limitations not owning something like Microsoft, which is obviously something they can't do. Obviously, I want to talk here a little bit about the pros of Loop here. I'm not obviously promoting it because I haven't actually played with it fully yet, but in terms of the live components, that's definitely something that takes you a leap further. And obviously having it in the Microsoft ecosystem is a big pro for many people. I think also the fluent design that Microsoft have been pushing more recently is really attractive and nice in my own opinion. But when it comes to a collective experience, just from the outset, it looks like Notion is a far superior application. And the fact that you can not only use it for personal, but work, and it doesn't limit you to what you can live embed, you can actually create things from scratch, really does take it a lot further. Now, I would say this new release by Microsoft actually directly compares more to Coda, which is an application that has been progressing quite well more recently, with upgrades to the editor and a lot more. I would say Notion, I would say that Microsoft Loop is definitely trying to compete with more the coder experience than it is inside of Notion. But at the same time, it's still very far behind when it comes to personal productivity. Now, obviously at this rate, I do think that Microsoft's only big leapfrog would be to do something like buy Notion, or to actually make Clippy into a personal AI assistant, which helps you to get stuff done. I feel like that would be the future for Microsoft in the personal productivity space. Now, Microsoft are actually doing a lot of what Facebook's trying to do at the moment and invest in this whole new internet concept of the metaverse. It's really interesting to see how they're trying to get involved with this, but they're definitely still missing the mark, in my opinion, with an overall direct competitor to apps like Notion and Coda. I think they still have a long way to go. Obviously, Microsoft is actually probably ahead of Google in this realm, with Google still sleeping on the potential of all-in-one workspaces like Notion. Now, I told you at the start of the video, I said that Notion stole the idea from Microsoft, and I'm going to confirm it. Back in the day, there was a software called Bob, and it was a software that allowed you to keep organized, whether that's creating letters, mail, and even managing your calendar. Well, I definitely think that Notion stole the concept from Bob, and it's confirmed in today's video. Notion is actually in the wrong here. But as you can imagine, I hope to see some challenging progress that Microsoft pushes towards the likes of Notion and Coda. Although I think Notion and Coda are far superior to these applications at the moment, I do hope that this space continues to be innovated in the future. So thank you very much, folks, and I do hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are new here and fancy diving into some more productivity applications, feel free to. I'd honestly love to have you here as a subscriber. Thank you very much, folks, and I'll talk to you very soon. Cheerio!